The story of the war, when I wrote it 30 years ago and we performed it 30 years ago, was deeply rooted in the specific story of me and the loss of my father and how that affected my life and how I grew up and how I went through all kinds of changes and things. And I've realized before putting on this production, I wanted to broaden it to the point that anyone who shares that sense of loss or a sense of outrage at the losses that occur can identify with my personal story, but also understand that it was my loss that enabled me to empathise with others. I didn't see much point in trotting out the show from 30 years ago. In fact, if anybody who sees this clip cares to go to my website, I explain why I changed everything. And it's actually all to do with exchange of information and the technology that we now have at our disposal to communicate with one another across both national borders and ideological borders. And one can substitute the word wall for the word border. I think the big question facing us now and successive generations is whether the use of information exchange technology will help us to grow closer together and become friendlier with one another and empathise more with one another across the boundaries and walls that now exist, or whether it won't, and that the use of this technology will help Bush and Blair to invade Iraq or help them to be murdering people on the borders of Afghanistan and Pakistan, or whatever it might be that the warmongers want to achieve and how they want to describe our lives. My hope is that this technology will help the rest of us to say no. I'm quite sure that this show will ruffle a few feathers and people may go, what the fuck is he talking about, you know? And there will be that usual slew of people who disapprove of saying anything in a rock and roll show. There are a lot of people who think popular music should only be about Moon and June and Candy Floss, or ooh, she's sexy, or something like that, and they think that politics is verboten and shouldn't be. I have a different view. It's meant to be a piece of theatre. Don't really look upon it as rock and roll. This is theatre. People come and experience this piece of theatre. I hope that, they'll need to get their hankies out a couple of times, because that's what it's for, really. It's to encourage us to touch those bits of us that are still capable of empathizing with others and with our own inner selves to the point where we are deeply moved.
Mama loves her baby, Daddy loves you too, and the sea may look warm to you, baby, the sky may look blue.
When I embarked upon the new production, which I did in January of this year, so that's like 9 months ago, one of the things that we did straight away was to start a website around the tour. I then had an idea for one of the songs early in the piece, the song Thin Ice, The idea was to display pictures of people who either died in war or died in political conflicts of some kind. As part of the show, alongside a photograph of my father, who died in 1944 in Italy, as an act of ecumenical solidarity with everybody who has lost a loved one, because I asked people to send me photographs of fallen loved ones. We had a huge number of responses to that. The difference between the projection technology, particularly in 1979 and now, is enormous. I'm working with a fantastic team of projectionists, and the team I've been working with creating all the visuals that we're projecting. It's like night and day from then. We can now project over 244 feet of wall, when then we could only project over 90. So, 244 feet's nearly a soccer pitch. But it's something that's never been done before. People, when they tell people what we're doing, who know about projection, the people they tell go, "What? You're insane." Go, "Yes! Yes, we're insane!" It's all good.
I'm expected to be blown away. I think a lot of people have that kind of expectation. I mean, anyone who's seen any sort of clips from the original shows, it goes so far beyond what a typical rock show is.
The wall is a masterpiece. Like this is a piece to remember in centuries, and the chance of seeing it live, nobody has ever thought about to see that again. I was 12 when he did it, and didn't get tickets for the show in Germany back then, and so I had to go over here to see it now. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a think piece. It goes beyond just a rock show. It deals with relevant issues back in 1980, and what it deals with now. It's kind of the same things going on in the world. So I think to people, it's more than just a rock concert. It's more of a political statement.
I'm pretty much expecting that this is going to be like a once-in-a-lifetime thing, because they're probably not going to do the wall again, right? So me being here on the very first of the tour is just amazing.
He's definitely enjoyed by almost all the age groups, and it's just amazing how even younger people like me are here and enjoying it.
I'm ready to have my mind blown. So.
When he announced this tour, I was like a kid in a candy store. I mean, I've seen tonight's show, tomorrow night's show. I'm going to Vancouver, Los Angeles at Staples Center, so I'm going to see this as many times as possible.
Obviously, you're going to run into some controversy. People pay, they don't want to listen to somebody sit up there and rant all night, but at the same time, I think a lot of people agree with the message. I think Roger Waters' underlying message is really just, think for yourself and make up your own mind. So I think it's good that people, respond to it negatively and positively.
The lyrics are, I think, more intelligent. That's what gets me about Roger Waters.
I mean, when the wall comes down and everything, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, to suit les programs. And that shirt behind you, that one? It's the only long-sleeve ones you got? That's what we got? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Should I trust the government?
Cause not if you can hear it. Is there anyone home? Come on now. I hear you're feeling down. Well, I can ease the pain and get you on your feet again. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. That is so moving. As you guys probably know, this is the first gig on this tour and we couldn't have started in a better place. You guys have been fantastic and it touches us deeply and we thank you for it.
It was a fantastic show.
Amazing.
Gets better every time we see it.
What they were able to do was make it current, which is beautiful. It wasn't just the movie, it wasn't just the album, but it was current. It's what's happening today. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful.
Mind-blowing. There's so much to see, and visually there's so much to take in. I'm actually too close. I'm sitting here looking like this and look left and right to try and take it all in. It was mind-blowing.
It was something else. That was incredible. It was just an unbelievable experience. It wasn't even just a concert, it's a show.
Absolutely mind-blowing. I absolutely love this show. Cannot compare it to anything else.
Man, I've been to hundreds of shows in all my life, and this is a highlight of my life. I'm going to tell you, I've been doing this for many, many years, probably 30 years or so, and I've never seen anything like this. I'm totally feeling it right now, and for the next 20, 30, 40 years, I'm going to be feeling this. I'm going to tell my grandchildren about this.